Welcome to the Kent Lapp Podcast.
So when you look at what's going well in America right now as it relates to global trade, if we could, as much as possible, set China aside for a second. Outside of China, what's going well with our global trade right now, and what's not going so well? Does anything come to mind with countries that we sort of have we kind of have the better end of the deal, and then other countries that come to mind where we really don't have
Well,
the better
you
end of the
mentioned
deal?
earlier we trade quite a bit with Mexico and Canada, and our Canada trade has a lot to do with us importing energy, and it's possible that actually we're getting a better end of the deal with that relationship because energy is not a high additive product. In other words, it's just a commodity, where some of the stuff they import from us are actually consultants and technology and software and things like that. So I think we win there. So certainly we're winners in software. We one of our products unfortunately doesn't go down as an export, but is our university system. Our education is one of our biggest exports. It doesn't go down in the statistics of export because it occurs on our soil.
Right.
It doesn't like
Yep.
when you leave the country, they don't say 4-year degree leaving,
Yeah.
6-year degree leaving.
Yeah.
They don't do that. So, but there's a lot of that. We continue to innovate and look. Nobody has been able to replicate the venture capital industry in California. As everybody's trying. Okay, non-existent in most of the world. Europe doesn't really have venture capital. The only private investments in Europe are buyouts. I mean, there's some venture capital, but very, very little. Most of the venture capital, as far as I can tell, in China is just a copying of our venture capital. So we do Amazon, somebody does Alibaba. I mean, it's just because we're not allowing Amazon there, so they do. So it's not really. However, you can't take it for granted because that's how the Japanese started. Japanese started making useless things and gadgets and toys. Now they make some of the best cars in the world and some of the best watches, I think, in the world. Some of the best, a lot of things. And the problem they have is they don't have a growing population and they're an island, so they have to import all raw materials. And they're a closed society, so there's a limit to it. So and you know what? We also import some of the best minds throughout the world. We're talking about exports. Man, people with energy, drive, and an idea, they want to come to America. That is huge. That is huge. I hope we never.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we. um, so we consume more than we produce, but that's okay. It's because of our standard of living. Okay, that's we don't have to run a because of our standard of living. We don't need to be sort of on par with the rest of the world from a trade standpoint. Okay, but we need a vibrant middle class. We need jobs, not our 15 an hour. I mean, 15 an hour doesn't even begin to solve your problems with my health insurance. Okay, I mean that may be a conversation about you know entry level jobs and how much they should pay, but it's not a viable wage. We need jobs that are 55, 65, 75,000 an hour that can lead to somebody actually buying a house and building, paying for a child's education and so on. So that's I think that's really what it takes to maintain the purchasing power. And we've been going backwards, because just because of the lack of wage growth, and that's a global phenomenon because of the lack of demand. Um, and
That's not a USA specific problem. That's a global problem.
yeah, it's a global problem.
But when you say that
Wages in Germany have gone backwards for years, but the Germans don't seem to mind as much as the Americans. They don't raise hell about it as much. But it's coming.
Okay, it's coming in Germany.
I think.
When you say that we are exporting less than we're importing, and you're saying it's not the biggest problem we have right now because of our vibrant middle class. But long term, that's a problem because this goes back to your example earlier where that's going to be an issue for us, correct?
Well, you can afford certain amount of deficit and borrowing, especially when world reserve currency. Okay, you don't have to be an expensive currency to actually be a good currency.
Okay.
So no, it's not a problem. The magnitude though is, when you're running, sorry about that. When you're running deficits that are, you know, trillions of dollars annually, how sustainable is that? What is
Right.
that going to do into the future? As you can see now, every time somebody has an idea, how do we pay for it? Because we're already, and it kind of raises some interesting questions. Like for example, Biden currently wants to raise taxes. Okay, but we're not raising taxes to balance the budget. Okay, it's not even close, right? We're going to raise taxes. It's not going to balance the budget, but we're going to spend some more money. So it begs the question: why even bother with the taxes? Just spend the money,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if we're spending money anyway, so are you saying that we're at a point? Are they saying we're at a point where we can't do anymore? They're not saying that.
Yeah.
So why are we taxing people? Just because it's politically, the right thing to say. I mean, we're certainly not going to do it for any good purpose that I know of, because whatever spending they have in mind, you can do it anyway.
That's the part I don't completely understand. All right, I get that government doesn't make any money. They either get that money from taxing or printing the money or borrowing it. That's the only way government has money. And so taxing comes back to hurt the small business owners. Borrowing from the future hurts everybody. Printing it. What is the problem if we just said no tax, we're just going to print money? What would be what's the downside of that?
Oh, well, eventually this water would cost $1 million.
Because inflation?
Yeah, nobody would want you. I mean, you just look at Lebanon. I was in Lebanon last year. It took 1,500 liras to buy $1. Today it's 8,000. Just 1 year later. 1 year, 1 month later.
So that's
because they printed too much money.
Okay, so then back to taxes. That's why you can't get rid of taxes and just print money then, right?
Right, but yeah, that's right. But they're taxing not to pay off the debt. They're just going to spend more. So in other words,
Yes,
we're going to be further deficit next year than we are this year. So what if you're not going to reverse that trend? What good is it to tax?
Yes. Okay. I see your point. With everything going on, the deficit is not something that's being talked about much.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. It was back when the Tea Party was big on that, right?
Right.
And that just sort of went away.
Well, because you had some very pissed off oligarchs called the Koch brothers that were upset that Obama wouldn't compromise with them on the Obamacare or some other issues. I don't, so they funded this movement, and that's essentially the society.
They funded the Tea Party movement.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Essentially that's the society we live in today, where every movement is really some acts that some billionaire has to pick.
Yeah.
With another billionaire, we're supposed to go out in the street and root and hollow and cheer for them, but it's just one billionaire fighting another billionaire.
Yeah.
What's in it for us?
This is a complicated country we live in. And I'm glad to be here, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Sure.